So, welcome. This is Moonlight Mystic here. And I just thought in this video, I wanted to go with flow. Um, we're not used to going with flow a lot, and we tend to want notes, or we want to have something that where hang on, just I've got this, hang on, get ourselves all prepared and what have you. um I remember a video that I did when my son was one, and he was 1 year old, and I had short hair, uh, and he looked beautiful and amazing in the video. I never uploaded the video. I was in the beginning stages of believing that I was creating a YouTube channel, but what I was actually creating was a complete transformation of myself. um I remember looking out the window and trying to talk and having this little baby wriggle in my arms, and at one point he was leaning out the window and I had him, but I had to stop the video because I was like, I don't want him falling out the window. Well, anyway, I don't know if that's it's not really about me. It's not really about the story. It's about the emotion, and when we connect on levels um, that are familiar, when we talk about our children, um, when we talk about things that touch our heart, and then we can share that moment with others, because we all have um, a resonance with the pull and tug of heart energies, and reflections that pull us in and feel warm and feel um, you know accepting, completely accepting. um, I think a lot of our path in life is to come into the acceptance of things. We tend to resist a lot, and it's interesting because we have to find out what are the patterns underneath that are causing us to resist in that emotional underworld. You we're resisting our fears, but we're still holding on to them, because what if we are in resistance to something? That means that we're holding the fear within the body. We have to hold it in the heart to resist it. Otherwise, the minute that we don't resist it, it doesn't exist. Doesn't exist. It needs our resistance to feed it and to make it bigger. And when we begin to understand the dynamic of resistance, it is something that we believe is happening, that it is a belief of what is happening, and that happening is actually, it's not actually occurred yet. It's a fear is something that um, comes up before anything happens. Before, fear is something that we feel because, oh, but this could happen, or that could happen, whatever it is, because we're afraid of that thing happening. And then so we think the intuitive thing to do is to, well, we'll stop it, we'll resist it, and we'll stop it from happening. But the more we resist, um, the more we enter into that energetic dynamic. Yeah, and so the path that's balanced and trusting is is the path of acceptance. Accept viruses exist. Yes, they do. They exist. They are part of our world at the moment. Yes, they are. Yeah. And and different people have different responses to different viruses. Yes, they do. Different people have different responses to different vaccinations. Yes, they do. Um, Different people have different perspectives of health and of immunity and of the body and the mind, body, soul, spirit connection. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Yeah, we haven't lost all of those perspectives at all. It's just that one is more louder than the others. and so well, what is that next move then? That is to make ourselves heard, to make ourselves heard. And it's not about all this. um it's not that. It's this. It's heart speak. It's the spiritual language that is reflective of the heart, because heart language is spiritual language, and we speak from our energy and from our heart. And when we hold the position of fearlessness, because we say, well, whose fear is this? I'm, you know, I everyone is entitled the right to respond to the virus in the ways that they feel is most appropriate. And you know, it's fine if we have to wear masks, okay, but we're not masking um, our heart energy, our spiritual self. You know, what is hiding behind the mask? You know, the metaphor needs to permeate, and the metaphor of the mask, the metaphor of the mask. I would love to write something about the metaphor of the mask. Yeah. Let's do that as creative intuitives. If you think that's a great creative idea, let's do something that along the lines of that. Hmm. What is happening behind the mask? No. It could be some of the greatest literature that was ever written in 2021. Everyone took to the place where their creative ability could be birthed. What lies beyond the mask? You know, what lies beyond the illusion? What lies beyond the fear? What lies beyond the shadow? Breath, peace, rest. We are at the stage that we are at now because the virus has actually taught us something. We just have to realize it. The virus has taught us that the natural of order of things needs to be reestablished. That's what the virus has taught us. The virus has taught us that those that believe that they can do whatever they like in terms of labs and viruses and whatever it may be, if it is causing harm, it needs to fall under the standing foundational spiritual principle and the governance of that principle. How do you want to look at this virus? There are so many metaphorical, what were they called back in the days, of the biblical days? They were called parables, taking the things that are happening in our society, and the stories that are running, and the things that are happening globally. Okay, and finding the metaphor, finding the parable, finding the lesson and the message, and the spiritual um advancement through it, the transcendence of it all. There has to be um this there has to be two sides, there has to be a dynamic, there has to be an energetic exchange. Because if there is a story that is running about the government, let's say, and whatever angle you're looking at things, because there's so many angles. But then, if you're looking at that only, then you're just a reflection of that projection, because they only see one perspective, right? When we become a reflection of the reality that there are many perspectives, and there are many ways in which people live, and beliefs that people hold within their heart. It's connected to their culture, to their belief systems, to their values. The thing is, that's why those things were stripped from us and were stripped from the people, because they are our greatest power. When? In the darkest hour. Hope shines brightest in the darkest hour. In the darkest hour, we are our strongest, not our weakest. In the darkest hour. Hope, hope shined the brightest. And that 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 hope is what is is the vision. It is the consciousness and the energy exchange. It's the energy exchange. Okay. And so um this vision, this uh this manifestation, this sense of freedom, and sense of safety, and sense of being able to live in peace, and to recognize that the common unity of the spiritual principles of our world. Okay, that the governance of those spiritual principles is what must now be established. And that is a different leadership. That is the leadership of the spiritual leadership. And the spiritual leadership um, is that supportive, accepting, empowering energy that holds a vision of the next generation, of the way that we preserve the earth, of the long term sustainable systems and structures that reflect the principle. Okay. This is the heart and the body and the function. Okay. This is the head. This is the head. And so the heart, the body of the people must find the vision, because the heart is what gives vision to the head. To the head. The head must take the vision. The head must take the vision and connect to the people. Okay. And the people must connect to the heart and to the spiritual principle, okay, of our world. Okay. Um, that is what, that is the new world, and and who we are is no longer defined by the shadow world. So we've had that cycle. We've had that cycle, and so we're moving into different energies, different cycles, different ways of where we are moving into a whole new world, a whole new world that reflects um, this creative um, inspiration, uh, empowerment, this energetic exchange that recognizes that we are all equal, that we are all one, that we are all reflections of spirit. You know, that everyone is on their path, and the more we allow for acceptance, and the more that we allow for support, and then the more those that feel that support and feel that acceptance, then they can begin to surrender to the self, because the self of who you really are, it cannot come out until it is has surrendered, and it cannot surrender until its environment, um is external environment, and I'm talking energetically here, and level of consciousness here, is safe. If people are imbalanced, um and whatever outside of you, let's say, coming towards you, and they're in an imbalanced state, then then we need to understand that, you know that is not an equal energetic exchange. So just allow them to be in their own energy, because um we have to begin to negotiate um, energetic dynamic. Yes, energetic dynamic. And so, and I was watching a great video today, and it was a lawyer in England, who was networking with more lawyers and more lawyers that were beginning to build a team that are going to address a lot of these issues. The issues. And it doesn't have to be violent. It can be negotiated, um, and we can act as mature spiritual beings here, having the human experience, because I think that there needs to be some freedom and some energetic space for people that channel, for people that have gifts. Those kinds of um, um, offices need to be established within our society. There needs to be people that are spiritual leaders that can assist others to come into more understanding of the spiritual self, and that's all just going to happen naturally, because we're in the age of Aquarius, and so that means that we're in this spiritual revolution. We're in the spiritual revolution, and I need to look up 136. So sorry, random stuff. Random stuff, but what is important here is to establish that yes, we are connected to the spiritual world. Yes, we are, because we are spirit, and we are here to govern that world, and that world needs governing by the spiritual principle. We've been presented everything else that this world is, and yet it's so obvious that it's the spiritual world. It's an energetic world. There needs to come now the governance of the spiritual principles, and those are what govern our world. Our world. Yeah. Oh, that's bold to say. I don't give a fuck. That's what I believe. It's bold. Yeah. It's weak to call that bold. It's bold to call that weak. Whatever it is. It's the self. The self needs to um it needs to become a lighter dynamic when we are going through our soul evolution, because it's the integration of things. It's the integration of masculine and feminine, um light and shadow, you know um the moments in our lives when things became so unbearable, and we just didn't want to go on. We want to change worlds, that we have that side. But we also have the side that once we discover um what we're passionate about, what we are living for, you know, then that balances out that deals to that, so, and that deals to that, so you've got to go, okay, well, which energy, and it's we have this to trigger that, to trigger this, because we're walking through, we are this mixture of light and shadow, and it's cool. Why not? Why not accept that we are light, that we are light, that we come from the universe and from God, and that we are those star beings. We are connected. We are all those things, you know? and that we are also this struggling human within our own psychological game barriers and bullshit that kind of tries to choke our energy, and then and so we've got this kind of like um thing going on that's kind of like this clashing. So there's part of us that wants um to be the hero, to um shine the light, to come into the full expression and transmission of the soul energy that we were born to be. But then we've got this one that's kind of like, you know um is the energy that kind of well, it does it's wanting to direct us to this. It Gosh, what is this? What is this dynamic? It's how our soul kind of evolves. Hmm. It's a tempering and balancing of the two, you know. And so the light kind of is able to see the darkness and go, yes, I perceive that, I see that. What was unconscious now becomes conscious. Oh, I see that, you know. And that's the light um of consciousness. And and then the shadow, um we that shadow transmutes, because we see it, and then we go, oh yeah, and I accept that whatever is attached to that, we give it acceptance, we give it love, we go, yeah, okay, yeah, I accept that. Okay. No, we're done here. Thank you. See you later. To the shadow. Thank you. See you later. So, but the thing is that, at the end of your life, you look back and you think, well, um, we have to thank the shadow. The shadow, without the shadow, there's no humanity, there's no life, there's no grit, there's no um, learning. It's cycles, and it's like a wheel, and it kind of just picks up different energies. And as that wheel keeps turning, it can also pick up waters and throw that water out as well, you know and it's we are the wheel, we are the wheel, we are the wheel that is turning. And as we're doing the shadow work, as we're doing the heart work, and learning more about who and what we are, I mean, it's discovery of self. We've been doing that for millions of years. And there's so many perspectives about what we are. Mind, we are a mind, we are a body, we have a soul, we are spirit. And we are spirit. We are, because we're made in that image. And um and I think that we need to find that image of spirit that we are, because we when we are just more focused on the body, or all the thoughts in our heads and what have you, um you know yeah, it's more dense energy. And so, but when we are um seeking to connect with that spiritual self, um which is the self within the heart, then we can begin to find that image as well, that reflection. Um, so I'm looking this way every so often. I'm looking out the window, and it's beautiful out there, and it's just nature. It mesmerizes me. Just lying in bed the other night and hearing a moorhawk was was really soothing to my soul. And I believe birds are they are messengers. They communicate things. They flit and dart around, and they look each and every way, and they take off. And they are sensitized to um, whatever's happening within the environment, and they're alert, but they're not. I don't think they're full of fear. I think they're full of um, just this um, alert sense within. And I think that you know we we were like that once. I think we were like that once. Everything just felt free and just felt as if it was just an energetic response that just felt better and better and better, and until we began to fly. you know And it's amazing when you begin to come out of shadows and you come into to other parts of yourself. um, it is like becoming whole. um, yeah, um, all the searching that we've done outside of ourselves um, to feel loved, to feel accepted, to feel all these things. The problem is that you can't find it in another person, because you need to find it in yourself. There is a self. You're looking for yourself. That's what you're looking for. You're looking for yourself. Mhm. We think we're looking for a romantic partner or whatever it may be, and and we are looking for ourselves. We're looking for ourselves. And oftentimes, if we are in, um, let's say, unhealthy relationship, it's because we are looking to that other person to fix the karmic energetic um, wound. So some people get together that are attracted because they have the same trauma, or or they have the right negative, positive, or the wounding is similar. It kind of just um, they trigger each other. They trigger each other, and so the thing that happens that's good from those relationships is that when we begin to become aware that, oh, I'm being triggered, I'm being triggered, I'm being triggered. It's this character is in my life because um to trigger me. He's the reflection of the perspective I have in my own heart, let's say, and of myself. And so then that creates the energetic exchange. And so when and it could be, you know, could be girl and guy or girl, whatever it is, but um, the energetic exchange is based on a wound. and and so each individual is trying to heal the wound through the other. Yeah, if only I could change him, or if only I could, um, because there's a faulty belief there that it's something that you didn't do, or it's something that you didn't say, or there's some way that you can appease or help or change, or whatever that partner, and but the thing is that um, you don't resolve wounds like that. You resolve wounds by um, by connecting into yourself, by loving yourself, by um, yeah, it's a different dynamic. It's a different dynamic. And so when you change the dynamic, that means that you're going, okay, well, that energy's not anything to do with me anymore. No, that energy's got nothing to do with me. Okay. um because I'm choosing to see myself and to see the ways in which um, I make excuses for it. All these sorts of things. When you can see yourself that way and you go, you look, there's me. Look at me doing that. you know, and then you can go, well, I was really triggered by you, and thank you very much. You've taught me a lot. Now I just know all the parts of myself that I need to love, you know. and so and to accept and to, and so this journey is, no one else can do it for you. Okay, nor should you be expecting someone else to do it for you. Okay, and um because that creates an imbalance. That person needs to be doing it for themselves, doing the soul work, and doing the work that's required to let it ah, let it go. Mm. A spirit comes and taps me on the shoulder too, and like, and gives me a word, and I love that too, because I think through doing these kind of channels, um I feel very transparent, and that means that whatever's coming through is whatever's coming through. If I'm sort of releasing a shadow um somewhere within the video, then don't freak out. It's just energy. And not releasing it as a projection, but releasing it from my own field. Just clear that up. And because sometimes it that just happens. um yeah, and and that's okay, because I think a lot of when we learn, when we're children, let's say, we learn because we are absorbing the environment, and we're absorbing the energy and the consciousness, or the the beliefs, and so whatever it may be, and and so yeah, it's, I forgot where I was going with this one. Mm. Yeah, so we kind of like take on all those beliefs about ourselves, and and then what happens is, you know, you go through childhood and you're like, man, when I grow up, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna eat ice cream all day, I'm gonna like just like I've got all this freedom, and then but then we come into adulthood, and we find that there's like these blocks and these energetic patterns within our emotional underworld. They're there, and they've come through different experiences and different things, and and what we need to learn now these days is, okay, we need to understand, oh, okay, so these things called um energetic patterns of consciousness, they exist, and they exist in our emotional underworld, and so we can allow for them to drive our life, but it's chaotic because it's based on the shadow. So those are the beliefs that were created um, out of fear. Fear is the belief is actually what we fear. So that what we fear is actually the belief. So there's a fear attached to that. So so when so when certain things happen, we have a resistance to it because that belief was created and established um, through fear, not through acceptance. Okay, and so it's when I suppose uh, yeah, so a lot of acceptance is moving through your fear. Yeah. Acceptance is what allows for you to move through the fear. and accept that things exist. I think um, so many of my knee-jerk reaction fears have been overcome because I've been willing to go, okay, I don't agree necessarily agree with that, but I'm prepared to accept that it exists. So exist. Yeah. Because if I give you um yeah, I accept that that exists. Yeah. And I give that acceptance, then you are also going to give me that acceptance and go, yep, that exists. Yep, it does. It's not my cup of tea, but that totally exists. Because a lot of times when we're in arguments, we think that it's about whether it's real or it exists, and it's not. It's about the perspectives. One has the perspective of one thing, and the other has the perspective of the other thing. And and if both accept that, yes, there's the two perspectives, they're both valid and they both exist, then there's no problem. The only problem arises when one person believes that actually only my perspective exists. Now that's when there's problems. And so, you know, um yes, and so we can offer the exchange. And because I don't enjoy. I love to talk. I love to talk deeply and to have that conversation. Um, but I don't like to debate because that's more like a clashing, jolting, jarring energy. And and the thing is that I don't mind to have a discussion. I love to have discussions. I love it. Because I get to learn, and I get to also share and learn, you know, from other people's experiences. And it's that's connection. So yeah, I know this is, sorry about this, it's all over the place. I didn't follow any notes. Didn't follow any notes, but um sometimes it's good to just let whatever needs to be. So I'm gonna leave it there. If you've enjoyed this, please let me know, because I'm kind of like, um, my name's Moonlight, and I'm kind of like just coming out of my shell. And I've had no real spiritual mentorship. In fact, I've been through some fucking hard shit, and and haven't we all? um but for me, it's been amazing because I felt that I was at the time now where I would go public, and that means that um the gift that I developed within myself um can now be transmitted. And I've worked very hard to, um well, I have worked very hard. um but yes, I've put a lot um into my spiritual activism, I suppose, and into um you know having a place and space and environment for people to come, that is like, hey, I feel totally comfortable, I feel totally accepted, I feel totally um like I can be myself from a heart level. It's not about showing off or any of that stuff, but then sometimes it's fun to show off and be a bit silly. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that, but I think um we can um we can move through more awareness of the heart energies and um, the things that trip us up. And when we can acknowledge them and see the funny side, and to have a lighter heart, and to be a bit more light-hearted about things. There's nothing more healing than just having a good laugh. Like a really good laugh, and and just allow yourself to let it go just completely. And because that's something that this world's got so. I'm honestly guest bagging today, but we're at 46 minutes. I won't go past an hour. um oh yeah, so yeah, this world today. Thank you. This world today